Okay guys, a really quick video talking about A and B templates. A and B templates is essentially where in periodization talk, we basically map out a training cycle. And what we often do is we pick a certain stimulus or a certain adaptation that we're chasing after. And what we do, we kind of lay out that adaptation throughout the training week. So for example, you'll often see maybe a Monday is a strength day, a Tuesday is an aerobic training day, so on and so forth. So basically we create structure to the training week. Conversely, there are some programs who basically have very minimal structure, where basically the program is a little bit more varied in nature, where kind of every day can be anything, a mixture of aerobic work, skill work, weightlifting, so on and so forth. Now, there are pros and cons to both. Without digging into those too much, what some people do find is when the program is a little bit too structured, it may feel monotonous, it may feel boring, it may feel like, especially in a sport like CrossFit, where there's so many things we're trying to get good at, we kind of pigeonhole ourselves to a very select few things, which means that everything else we don't do maybe kind of gets put in the back burner and doesn't develop. On the other hand, the constantly varied program gives you loads of exposure to everything, but maybe not enough exposure to any one thing that we don't actually improve at it. So we use something like an A-B template to allow us to actually still have structure within a training program, but it also gives us a little bit more variance within the training weeks. This is something we actually currently have in our Live, Perform, Compete and Elite program. So on our aerobic Tuesdays, we actually are alternating between an A template and a B template. So weeks 1, 3, 5, and 7, this is an 8-week training program, we'll be doing the A session, and weeks 2, 4, 6, 8, we're doing the B session. Now the focus on both of these sessions over the 8 weeks is pretty much the same: sustainable and repeatable aerobic training. So when we look down into each of these, for both of the sessions, we're doing between 20 to 30 minutes of total work. However, what that 20 to 30 minutes looks like is a little bit different based on the week. So on our A template, we're only using cyclical modalities: running, rowing, biking, ski erging. But on our B template, we're doing mixed modal work. So a combination of cyclical movements, like we just talked about, gymnastics, loaded movements, and a ton of different variations. The focus of both of them is the same: to find a way to develop pacing awareness and to move at a pace that we can continue to repeat after the 20 to 30 minute mark. Pros and cons of each. Well, when we're doing just cyclical work, it's allowing us to develop awareness with our cyclical pacing. There's generally less fatigue inputs. We're unloading the mechanical system. We're not moving through full ranges of motion. We're not putting load on our joints. So generally the body feels a little bit better, generally speaking, with this type of training. And it's definitely more of an aerobically focused session. The less fatigue inputs means that we know we're pretty much just training the cardiorespiratory system. When we look at our B template right now, we are, yes, developing pacing awareness, but using mixed modal, so the combination of those different movements. Generally, there's more fatigue inputs. It could be things like muscle endurance limiters, technique limiters, or aerobic limiters. And generally speaking, this session will have a little bit more mechanical stress and fatigue on the body. Now, the good thing by alternating these two, we're developing the aerobic system in both of them, but we're modulating fatigue and the types of fatigue we're putting on the body. So sometimes when we stick to just one modality for too long, we kind of build up a lot of fatigue, and by kind of week 3, week 4, we feel like we have to get a deload. By doing this kind of thing, or an A-B template with your training, this can be applied to strength training too, you're actually pushing back that potential to have a forced or scheduled deload, and it keeps the training a little bit more fun. Try it out with your own training, and if you are following the Live, Perform, Compete or Elite program, let us know what you think.